Okay, so similar to the circles that we looked at last week, an ellipse, both of the variables are also squared. So in a circle, we had x squared plus y squared equals r squared. And in an ellipse, we got x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. And the a and the b are going to end up being the vertices of the ellipse. And we'll do one and talk about all that. Now, foci, that's plural for focus. We had a focus the other day when we did fancy parabolas. It's just two spots inside the ellipse that are equidistant. And you'll see it all when we start doing actual work one. Okay? So we got our parent functions there. Got it ready to go. What'd you say? Kind of oval shapes.
They're elongated circles.
Yeah.
That's the best way.
So the middle of the circles are A and B.
That the A and B are going to be where it intersects the axes.
So it depends on what it says.
No, just let's do one before you start guessing everything.
Before you Christian it.
So let's look at 4x squared plus 25y squared is equal to 100. Oh, I gotta change the color on that line. I tried to just draw it. There we go. Alright, so first off, that doesn't look like the parent function that we just wrote down. So we need this thing to be in,
Yeah, that's a friendly number.
it does. We need this thing to be in that form. So I would say, first thing we need to do is set it equal to 1 instead of 100. So what can we do to make this be a 1 instead of a 100?
Subtract 99.
Yeah, you could do that, but that would be a pain in the butt. Do what? Just divide by 100, right? And then when we divide one thing by 100, that means we got to divide everything by 100. Okay, but that's still going to give us those friendly numbers that you were talking about, because what does 4 over 100 reduce to?
1/4. I mean 1/25.
So we have x squared over 25, right? Plus, what does 25 over 100 reduce to?
1/4.
So y squared over 4 equals 1. Okay, so now that looks like the parent form, right?
So then we just
So
need to
just
square root.
slow down. Yeah, you're right. So we could say our A is equal to 5. Right? You with me? And our B is equal to 2. Where did I get those? How did I know that?
Square root.
Mm-hmm. Now, our places of intersection, this is what Christian was asking about a second ago, our places of intersection for this thing are going to always be, I don't know where I'm going to have the room to write it, plus or minus A0 and 0 plus or minus B. Okay? So for this first one, and that might be a good thing to put on the page where you wrote your parent function. This first one, my A is 5, so I gotta go positive 5, up 0, and I also have to go negative 5, up 0. Now my B is 2, so I'm gonna go over 0, up 2. And then I'm going to go over 0, down 2. Okay. Now, it looks like I didn't space mine out very well because it looks like my left side's longer. It should be equidistant, everything on that. So just know that that's human error. But your ellipse is going to, oh Lord, that's bad. Let me try again.
Actually, don't look at that.
Do
For
I
me,
have
at
an
least.
ellipse drawer up here? Let's see.
You can probably squeeze your circle.
Oh, it's black. Go ahead and get it. it was starting from, so we're gonna start it from here, and then, okay, let me do that, and then I'll see if I can scoot it down. See how close that's gonna be. Almost. I got a little off up there, but you get the point, right? That's better than my potato, as Christian called it, I was trying to draw earlier. Okay, now those foci. I can tell you on this one, it's gonna be, I don't know what that's about. They're gonna be, in this vicinity, okay? Where I drew those little extra tick marks. So, those are,
Where did you say that?
kinda in that
yeah.
vicinity. So let's say c squared equals, how did the formula go?
A squared
A
minus
squared
B squared.
minus
A squared, so 25, cause it's the squared one, right? Minus 4, so c squared is 21, so c is the square root of 21. So hit square root of 21 on your calculator, it should be about 4 point something, right? Is 4 squared 16, 5 squared is 25.
Yeah, right.
So see that,
4.58.
so see, here's 5, so I had a pretty close estimate that it was right in there. Now, honestly, I don't really know what the foci is used for, because we didn't need it to draw that ellipse. And this is the first book that I've ever used that even discussed foci for an ellipse. The book I used previous years did not.
So we just put those foci on like 4.8-ish.
Mhm.
4.58
Ish.
right.
Okay, let's do
Ish
another
is a
ellipse.
exact form.
Know your issues.
I use ish way too much.
Way too much is.
Get my axes drawn again. I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Okay,
Your ish section.
so. Okay, so here the directions say to write an equation of ellipse that has a vertex at 0, 4, negative 3, 0, and it centers at the origin. Okay, so I don't necessarily have to graph this one, but I'm going to, just so I can see what it's gonna look like. So 0, 4. So if it's at 0, 4, it also has to be at 0, negative 4, right? Okay, negative 3, 0. So if I'm at negative 3, 0, I'll also have to be at positive 3, 0. So this ellipse is standing more upright, while the first one we did was kind of laying down.
It's closer to a circle.
A little bit, yeah, because those 3s and 4s are closer to each other, aren't they? Why does it default to black? Let's see. Right about there. Let's see what that does. Hey, getting better. Alright,
Oh, we don't
Now.
have to put a point in the, it's just saying what it's saying.
so we know if we're writing the equation, x squared over something plus y squared over something has to be equal to 1. Now be careful over here with these points. Which one is my A?
0.
No. Because remember the A, it was plus or minus A 0. So the negative 3.
Oh, negative 3, 0.
Okay, so negative 3 squared means what's gonna go underneath here?
9.
Very good. And then my B would be 4 squared, 16. No, So that's it, that's your equation. Pretty easy, pretty easy. Alright, I'm gonna give you one to graph on your own, we'll see how you do.
Will it be just like that one?
And it'll be more like the first one where you're actually gonna graph it.
Yeah.
Let's do x squared over 36 plus y squared over 225 is equal to 1. Okay, see if you can come up with a graph for that ellipse. That means you too, Christian.
Those are my big numbers.
Had to be a huge number. It goes into my head.
This one's different. Kinda looks like a kite, but it'll do.
Well, I didn't quite get my width on the right points, but I did pretty good on my
Oh, yeah.
length. So did y'all get the 6 and -6 and the 15 and -15? So
Mhm.
that's really the only math that you do on that. Now, do you want to, we'll just, for the kicks, we'll find the foci real quick. C squared equals
36,
36 minus
225.
225, which is what?
Negative 1.
222. Oh, wait, no,
Okay, so what do you think is the problem with that?
189.
Uh,
Oh, wait, negative.
-189, okay, but we,
it's bad at the calculator.
we still have a problem with that. What do you think is the problem with that?
It's not on.
It'll be a positive into you. Wait, no, it's not. Never mind.
It's not on.
Well, we have to square root it first.
And what's
And you can't
wrong
square
with,
root a
oh, now we're finally seeing it.
I'm
Square root of a-
remembering.
Square root of a negative is an imaginary number, right?
Do we have to do like an absolute value?
Or a positive negative. See?
Or is it gonna be?
I'm looking.
We're just thinking of all the imaginary things we can do that are within bounds.
So, vertical. Okay, Okay, so what it's telling me is that on, when it's a, they call that a vertical, cause it's more standing upright. The ones that are spread out or horizontal, more laying down. So when it is a vertical and this happens, you are just gonna switch them, manipulate them to make your answer be a positive. So y'all were guessing right on that. So good job. Y'all are knowing already. So C squared would be 189. So what would C be?
No, I'm not that big.
13.75.
So then check and see if that makes sense. So this is
Yeah.
up to 15, down to 15, so that would just be about right in those areas.
So what does the foci do?
It's equal, this distance between, the distance between the foci is, how'd they say that?
Equidistant.
Yeah, an ellipse is a set of all points that the sum of the distances between two fixed points called the foci is a constant. So,
What is?
the what? That's why I told you, this is the only book I've ever used that does that. It's not really that important of a deal, so, but we know how to do it now, just in case you ever see it. Alright, so tomorrow,
Oh, wow.
I think it's hyperbolas tomorrow. Yes, hyperbolas tomorrow.
That's gonna be your work.
Hyperbolas.
Hyperbolas and hyperbolae.
No,
Hyperbole.
do not bring science into